Okay, here we are. Just before taking off, I saw a request for a question and answer Periscope, and so here I am, rather than rant at this disgusting hole of a censoring Secretary General. I'm ready. Any questions? Anyone who has any doubt why Antonio Guterres should be in the MCC with members of 9 Trey, with where Jeffrey Epstein was, anyone that has any question, I'm ready. I'm looking at the screen. I'll read it. Maybe I'll do a stand-up. Any question at all. Could be a question about the trial, but it could also be a question about the UN. Could be a question about anything at all. My only time limit is City Bike's 45-minute limit. Bring it on. I can start with a little. I'm not going to start with anything. Here we go. Hang on a second. Tekashi is getting out at the end of the year. I don't know. That's you're stating it as a fact. I honestly don't know. I've seen enough at the Southern District of New York. It's totally up to the judge. I believe he probably will have a hearing around then. But whether Judge Engelmeyer, let's turn it around. Let's do it this way. Whether Judge Engelmeyer goes with that request, I don't know. And there's no way to know, honestly. What do you think the final call will be with Tekashi? I don't know. I would like to predict it. He could get time served. I mean, I saw a cop that took bribes to sell guns get time served. I think, now, it's actually kind of interesting, and it's related to something I said earlier. I think because his music and his persona has been put on the record, I think Engelmeyer might give a little bit of time. He's already served time, so remember that. Time served would actually be the months that he served since November 2018. So that won't be nothing. Maybe that's how he'll describe it. The cop got absolutely no time at all. So did a woman who stole money from a police foundation. So it's possible, but I'm saying anyone that tells you that they know, even the people that have set up impersonation accounts and various things, nobody knows. I'll be honest with you. Until the day Judge Engelmeyer sits in his courtroom on the 13th floor of 40 Foley Square, maybe he'll do it down in 318. Nobody knows. He might not even know. Judges always say that. So hopefully that answers that. And I'm sorry if I missed a question in the middle. Honestly, it's not. I'm not playing hard to hide the ball. I'm just saying, it's like saying who's going to win tomorrow's Giants game. You really don't know. You can predict. There's a point spread. What's the over/under? He could get time served, or he might get a year tacked on just to look, just to fill in more of that question. Yesterday, I saw a guy sentenced who's serving 20 years for having sex with a 13-year-old. So it's pretty bad. But he also then threatened a judge and a prosecutor. So he got 36 months, but only 12 of them are added on the end. So sometimes they just want to add on a little time. So I could see, if I really was I could see them saying, you've served 14 months, that's very serious, but we're going to give you 4 months more. I could see that. And also to give the Bureau of Prisons time to figure out what the F to do with him when he gets out, in terms of fate stats, location, etc. Okay, here we go. I know, but you have to remember, he's a cooperator. Shadi got 15 years, he didn't cooperate. And I've seen, many people have said, all hail Shadi. He did not cooperate. And he's appealing. Maybe he'll win his appeal. That would be the ultimate comeuppance. But you can't really compare. What we haven't seen in this case is what other cooperators get. What's Jorge Rivera going to get? What's Christian Cruz going to get? We don't know. I know. Well, they said what TMZ said. I mean, I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not like a purist on this. I'm just saying, ask yourself, how would they know that? Even if the Tekashi camp told them that today, how do you know that's the truth in January or in March? You don't know. Not to use a sports analogy, but honestly, I mean, maybe people paying bribes to these NFL teams, but even if they do, you don't know how the ball bounces. Here we go. Estoy seguro que lo eres. I don't know. Well, that's Spanish. Hablo un poco de español, pero no sé. You can't say. It's like, is it going to rain tomorrow? The weather report says it's going to be clear. Might it rain? It could rain. Yes. Hey, ¿qué tal? Muy bien. So, yeah. I mean, this is not rocket science. I'm just saying nobody knows, including people they say he's not. I know the interest. I mean, it's like anything. It's like, I could give any number of examples. Is Antonio Guterres going to be impeached? I hope so, but I don't think so. No, he doesn't. Because they don't give him. There's no dye in the. He's been in jail for a while. I will say this. Are you ready? He looks better than I thought he was. Some people described him as somehow deflated. He was very kind of cocky. May not be the right word, but he was good. He was on the stand, especially under cross-examination. He was like, I don't know what musing means. I don't know what embellishing means. And he's sort of he sat like this. Let me see. Let me use my bike wheel. He was like, Yeah, and he was drinking water. And I compare it to this guy, Michael Jones, who's a, quote, emo rapper, who's been in jail for about the same amount of time, maybe a little bit less, but he has no supporters. Every time they bring him out of in shackles, he looks deflated. It's like a balloon running out of air, and I would not describe Daniel Hernandez that way. So, but the hair, you can't keep it up. There's not like a hair salon in there, or whatever it is. I mean, maybe he could. You never know. Look, one of his co-defendants got a phone in and did an Instagram from the MCC, so anything can happen. I would say confident, not nervous, confident. That would be my description of him. And I say it like this, like it's hard to describe, but he was like, yeah. He had a lot of wordplay. He pretty much said what he wanted to say, like the stuff about Jim Jones. And this, I've seen people say that like the government is going after those people. I think he pretty much said what he wanted to say. Yeah, I would describe him as much more confident than scared. You know, I mean, he's rolled the dice. He's going to have these people against him the rest of his life. Yeah, well, I don't know. I said, you know what it is? I came here to rant about Antonio Guterres being a corrupt Secretary General, and I do feel that. And then just as I was about to take off on a bike, I saw somebody say, yeah, I should do a Q&A. So I said, let me do it. I don't usually do that, and that's probably a mistake, but I'm usually in a hurry. Like, I'll get off the train in Foley Square, and I have to be in the courthouse in like 10 minutes. So I try to do a curtain raiser stand-up, but this is fine. No problem at all. Haz una que canto? No. Estoy haciendo una canción, pero aquí no, así no. Aquí a frente de la casa de este puto, no. All right then, thanks. I mean, there's somebody that said that I responded to earlier. Yeah, the judge was annoyed, definitely. He kept saying, Mr. Hernandez. I mean, I tried to put that in what I was tweeting out. He said, Mr. Hernandez, will you just answer the question? And a few times, Tekashi refused to obey. And then he called a sidebar with the lawyers, basically telling the lawyers, particularly the U.S. attorney, you have to ask him questions in this way. You cannot ask him open questions because he's an artist. He's going to say whatever the F he wants, you know. So it was interesting. It's hard to convey that, and I think, thanks. I think if I'd said like, oh, he looks confident, it's like that's not the point. The point is like, here, question, answer, you know. I know. I've seen that speculation. I agree. I mean, it's an interesting question. I just don't think there's any way to know it. I could do a little research and find out, like, look, let me give you an example. And this is maybe a strange example. I covered a real Italian mafia trial a couple months ago in the Southern District of New York. These guys are like old Italian guys, very heavy set. They run construction sites. They were like, I cut a guy with a glass in his face in a sushi restaurant on Staten Island. And they had a guy testifying against him who was a mob rat. He was staying in a GO, it's a private prison in New Jersey. I think he's going to have to be in private prisons the rest of his life. He might get out and that's the kind of guy who will take witness protection. Whether a rapper, I mean, I think, seems to me he's probably going to want to rap. So, I don't know. I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know where his money is stashed. I don't know what those chains are worth. It'll be interesting to find out, but I'm telling you, anyone that tells you that they know today what the sentence is going to be or what he's going to do after, they don't know. I don't know. And it's not just, I'm not... You know, there's probably people that know more than me, but what I can guarantee you is that they don't know everything. Because, like with the weather tomorrow, you just don't know until it happens. That's the beauty of it all. That's a good question. I really am choosing not to. I'm having. Let me answer you this way. I think if a cop that took bribes to sell guns to people that shouldn't have them got time served, he should get time served. At the same time, if this emo rapper who doesn't sing as well and doesn't have anyone to rat out gets 20 years, then I don't see how he gets time served given what he's admitted to. Which is not a huge amount, but he did, I mean, I've seen people go to jail for filming a robbery, going with people with a gun, so I'm of two minds. Generally the idea that you get, that by ratting people out you get no time. I mean, at the same time he's an artist, so there's a difference. As a music fan, I have one view. The beauty of it all is, honestly, and I'll admit this, when I cover the UN, I think they're corrupt. I've learned that they're corrupt, and I cover them as such. At the courthouse, every day is a new day. Like, here's a crazy example, okay? I'm not crazy about pedophiles. Most people are not. So I cover them pretty harshly. You know, these guys that are, like, trying to have a very quiet court proceeding after some really nasty business. At the same time, I covered the case of this Bangladeshi guy who went to trial. He didn't take a deal for 5 years. I think he never did anything, but he did try to pursue a 13-year-old girl online. His family was there, like, very, very ashamed of him. There was nobody else in the courtroom. Okay, it's a huge courtroom. Judge Stein, 23rd floor. And he was found guilty by the jury in like 20 minutes. And I was like, okay. And then the government, I'll just finish the story, then I'll look at these questions. The government was like, he has to go to jail immediately, not even wait for sentencing. It's automatic. And I was like, well, that seems a little... And the judge, Judge Stein, spent a little time looking at his law book, and he actually advised the lawyer how to get him a few weeks out to, this guy like worked in a Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, you may never look at Dunkin' Donuts the same anymore. Anyway, I found, honestly, if I had to predict how I would have felt the pedophile should go to jail immediately. And yet, the government seemed really like opportunistic, trying to screw him in that way. So it's felt like justice that he remain out a few weeks. Now, if he escapes the country or goes after another girl, that's on the judge, and probably I'll judge my own immediate reaction. And this is what I mean in terms of, this is not really about journalism, just about, in the same way you don't know the weather, you don't know. So I view this in different, I view it in different ways. I wouldn't be outraged either way. Hoy o perdóname? I missed that question, and I'm a little slower to read Spanish. But so yeah, I think there's different ways to look on it. But honestly, they don't really care what I think about it. Here we go. Can 6ix9ine appeal if given a sentence he doesn't want? Let's see. We haven't seen yet. That's a very good question, and here's my answer, which is probably ill-informed. He has a mandatory minimum of 47 years. Okay, if he doesn't get a recommendation by the government to get less, he's going to get 47 years. I think it's unlikely. He's saying extremely effectively for 3 days. So he will get a letter. 47 years. He will get a letter. He will get a 5K1 letter. But the question is, the government could say that he should serve some time. Let's say they find between now and then that something he said is not true. Let's say he does something in jail. I covered another case in front of Judge Gardefee, another judge in the SDNY, where a guy who's saying for years, he spent 6 years in jail with a cooperation agreement testifying against other Blood Brims members. Finally, he's up for sentencing, and the government says, okay, he should get time, he should get rewarded for his singing, but he's also been selling drugs in jail. The judge was like, you suck, and gave him 4 extra years. So that could happen too. No hay problema, no hay prisa. Anyway, so hopefully that, if I had more answers, I'd answer more questions. But I'll do more of these. These are kind of fun. But I got to roll before I get charged extra for this bite. Okay then, to be continued. Inner City Press, on the case. Please do look into the UN and its corruption, but I'll try to not only talk about that. All right. Big Tony, on the scene. Big Tony.